Hey, welcome or welcome back. I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. My name is Sarah, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you all of the books that I rated 5 stars ever. I think my probably 3 or 4 years of reading English books. At the end of 2020, the start of 2021, and I've never looked back. So I'm gonna share with you the books that I rated 5 stars, if they still hold up to that rating, and what I think of them now, what I like about them, all of that kind of stuff, and we're just gonna get into it. So let's not waste any more time. I did want to say these books are in no specific order, not in order of the dates that I read them, like the year that I read them. Not at all. I just randomly put them together and we're just gonna talk about them. The first one that I have is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. Okay, so first off, I want to say this is not like an official 5-star because I rated it a 4.9, I think, but that pretty much means that it's a 5-star for me. So I thought the ending was a little bit boring, so I rated it a 4.9, but it was a really, really good book. I got the 5-star feels for most of the book, except for like the last 30 pages, which is not a lot, so I decided to put it on here. It's just a really, really good book. I don't remember much of it, but I thought it was very gripping. I was so invested in the story. I really, really loved it. I thought it was amazing. Then we have the Shatter Me series. I only picked the first book because I'm not going to grab the whole series, but here you can see the whole series. I rated the full-length novels 5 stars. The novellas, I didn't rate 5 stars. Those were 4 stars, all of them. But this one, and the rest of the series, the full-length novels, 5 stars. I just really, really love these characters, this world, and I got really, really attached to the characters and the world. So that's also why I rated the rest of the books 5 stars, because this book, it was already an immediate 5-star when I first read it. But then I got really invested in the story, in the characters, in the plot, in the world building. So I just kept rating the books 5 stars just for the feeling that I got from it. But now that I'm considering it more, I think I would have rated a few of them like a 4.5, maybe 4.75, but just for the feeling that it gave me and for the happiness that it brought me, I think a 5-star is a good rating for this whole series. And if you haven't already read this, read it. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, like it has a very peculiar writing style, but just try it out. Just try it out, see what it is, and see if you like it. Then we have the Selection series. I don't have the series with me. They are at my dad's, and I'm not currently at my dad's. I'm at my mom's. So it's the Selection, the Elite, and the One. I just really, really enjoyed this series. It is really, really entertaining. It's basically about this character. She participates in this competition to win the prince's heart. It's just very cliche. I just really love it. The feeling that it gave me. I read the first book in one night. I was reading the first 30 pages. I was like, ooh, this is not going to be a good one. Then I finished it in one night. Then I was like, oh, damn, never mind. It was a really good one. And the Elite made me so frustrated. The miscommunication, the things that kept happening, but it was still a 5-star. But if I were to read it right now, it would be a 4-star because of the way that it made me so frustrated. I cried because I was so frustrated. The One, holy shit, I cried so hard when the ending came along because I was so sad that it had ended, that it was ending, and that I never would experience this same feeling when I got reading that again. Sounds really dramatic, but I don't think I've ever gotten that feeling that I got when I read the Selection series, and it's been 3 years. If you're looking for a fun, entertaining read with some cliche characters, some cliche scenes, some cringy scenes, this is the series for you. Then I have another series. Do you see a pattern here? Most of the books that I rate 5 stars are part of series, and then the rest of the series is also 5 stars immediately. I don't know. But this is not the whole series. It is The Naturals, All In, and Bad Blood. And you may notice that Killer Instinct, the second book in the series, is not included in here. And that is because that was a 4.5 star. I didn't enjoy that as much as I did these ones. I think my favorite of the series, in terms of surprise, The Naturals, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. But in terms of plot and plot twist and characters and character development and things we figured out and the mystery, I think it would be All In. And then Bad Blood. It's basically like Criminal Minds, but then for teenagers, I guess. It is pretty gory in the last book, but it's still a young adult. We uncover some mysteries. There's also an underlying plot line of a mystery throughout all of these books that you're following. I recently finished these, and I need to reread the Inheritance Games because I didn't enjoy the Inheritance Games the first time I read it. I wouldn't say I hated it, but I gave it 3 stars, and I was like, ooh, I don't really like this. But maybe I need to reread it because I enjoyed the series this much. So maybe I need to reread that to see if I like that now. Okay, then we have these two. Akhtar and Ekimov. So, A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. I rated both these 5 stars, obviously, because they're included in this video. But I reread this book. I reread this book a while ago. I think more than a year, maybe 1.5 years ago. And I gave it a 3.75 star rating upon further consideration. But Sarah J. Maas has just not been hitting for me lately. And maybe if I reread them again, I would like them, but I'm kind of scared to reread them because I don't want to take away those fond memories that I have of them right now. Are these really 5 stars for me? I rated Aqua War and A Court of Frost and Starlight. I rated Aqua War, I rated at 3 stars. Like, that is a huge difference from 5 stars. And then A Court of Frost and Starlight, I rated 2 stars. And I never finished A Court of Silver Flames. It's really, really bad, but I want to try again and maybe make a reading vlog out of it. So yeah, that's a situation that we're in. Okay, another book that I don't have with me right now, it's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I think if I read this now, this definitely wouldn't have been a 5 star. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't really like Mouse. I didn't really like him. I just found him kind of annoying. I wasn't thinking about characters. I was thinking about the feeling that it gave me, the plot, and not about the characters at all. Like, who gives a shit about the characters if the plot is good, you know? That was how I thought. But now I'm more focused on the characters because the characters build a story. Now I probably would have rated it like 3 stars. And I've also heard some negative things about Colleen Hoover. I'm not going into that because I don't know for sure if those rumors are true, what those rumors are about. I've just heard some rumors and I'm not gonna go into that. I read it fairly quickly. I really, really enjoyed it, but if I read it now, it probably wouldn't be the same. Okay, this is a more recent read. It isn't like a very recent read because I read it more than a year ago, I think. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Oh my fucking god. This book made me cry. This book made me sob, made me feel all the feels. It was a whole thing. Just ripped my heart out. Then it stomped on it. Then it stabbed it. Then it threw it out the window. Then it picked it up, drowned it, and never rearranged it again to make it fit. Yeah, that's how bad it was. I would definitely recommend this book if you're in the right headspace for a sad book, because I think if I read it now, I would not like it as much as I did, because when I read it, I was in like a better headspace than I am now. So I wouldn't read it now, but for like, it's still 5 stars. It was still so fucking good. Okay, now we have The Cruel Prince again. I rated the whole series, the whole trilogy, 5 stars. And I think my favorite was The Wicked King, which is a huge surprise because that is the middle book. It is the second book. Most series that I read suffer from second book syndrome, where the second book is boring. And I've heard a lot of people say that they thought the second book was boring, but it was my favorite. I haven't read these books in a long time, and I don't think they will hold up to the 5 star because my taste has just changed a lot. My preference in writing style has changed a lot. For the memories that it gives me, like, I felt so bad when I finished this series. I was like, what do I do now? Like, what am I supposed to do with myself? It's just really entertaining. It also surprised me a little bit. I think this was one of the first, like, full fantasies that I read, and it's very politic based. I focused more on the romance and what we were getting in from the fantasy aspect and not in politics. I would still recommend the series, but I think you all have probably already read it because it's a really popular series. But if you haven't, try it out. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I also rated How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories 5 stars. It is also a really good book. It's just like some artsy thing. I can show you some illustrations. It's just really pretty. It wasn't anything special, but for the memories that it gave me, a 5 star. For the fun things that it gave me, 5 stars. It was just really interesting to see how they portrayed Cardan. Little continuation of the story because I was completely obsessed with the Cruel Prince trilogy, and that was the reason why I rated it 5 stars, because I just wanted more. I wanted more Cardan, more Jude, more, what's his name, Oakley or Oak? I don't know, I just wanted more, and this was exactly what it gave me. It wasn't necessary, but it was very much needed for me. Now we're going into tricky territory. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. this is one of those cases where, like, I was so desperate to get a 5-star read that I just rated the next best book 5 stars. I really thought it was good, but I probably should have rated it like a 4.5. The middle, I didn't really like as much as I did the ending. Like, the ending really made it for me, but the middle was kind of boring. Not too boring, but like a little bit flat for me. But I kind of forgot about that when I reached the ending, so that's why I gave it 5 stars. Okay, now we have another book that I don't have with me right now. A Curse so Dark and Lonely. And I'm pretty sure I also rated the second book in the series 5 stars. But again, it's probably like a 4-star, but I wanted a 5-star. I wanted a 5-star so bad. When I read the first book in the series, when that was 5 stars, I immediately wanted and needed the second book to be 5 stars as well. And this just wasn't the case with that. But A Curse so Dark and Lonely really was. It surprised me so much. I read it because a friend of mine back then said it was a really good book, and I was like, oh yeah, I can read it as well. And it surprised me. It surprised me so much. I really loved it. I just thought it was amazing. I really liked like the fairy tale-esque kind of vibe that we were having. And I still think it's a really good series. I read the third book and the final book in the series, and I really enjoyed that as well. It was nothing groundbreaking, but it was still good, fine. So, if you don't know this already, this book is my favorite book of all time. The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I recently DM'd Trisha Levenseller and she freaking replied to me. I was so surprised because I wanted to do a video where I asked authors what their favorite book was to write and why. That video is not going to be uploading because only one author replied, and that was Trisha Levenseller, so that's not going to happen. But it was still fun to try, and I got a response out of it just from one person. Where does it say that I read it? Did I log it at the back of the book? Oh, yeah. So here, I didn't remember to keep logging it, but the last time that I updated it was April 11th of 2022. April 14th. And I read it for the 7th time then, and then quickly after that I also read it for the 8th time, and I really want to read it for the 9th time soon, because I need to know if this holds up. Let's see if it's still 5 stars in my eyes. Maybe I'll make a reading vlog out of it. I don't know. But this book is so good. I could ramble a lot about this book forever, like literally forever. But I'm not going to do that because we still have more books to go through. But this is just so good. And I know a lot of people don't like it as much. I've recently watched someone who rated it 2 stars, and that's completely fine as well. But for me, this felt like a perfect book, and I just really loved all of the characters, the storyline. It was just very chill, but there was also action going on. It just hits perfectly. We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal or something like that. I cannot tell you much about this because I don't remember anything at all. I just remember that I thought the male love interest was really cute, and again, was desperate for a 5-star read, so I just immediately gave it 5 stars. Because I was trying to fool myself into thinking that it was a 5-star, even though it was a 4.5. 4.5 is still not a bad rating at all, but it's not a 5-star. Okay, I only have the 4th book in the series. I have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and I don't have the 1st. And the 1st and the 4th are the ones that I rated 5 stars. This is the 4th book in the Heartstopper series. I really love this. This series was really triggering for me since Charlie deals with an eating disorder. I still read it because I was like, yeah, whatever, I can deal with it. Spoiler alert, I could not, but I did it anyways. These books give me such a happy feeling, but at the same time sadness. It's just something about these that made me so happy, but made me want to cry as well. The first book was such a surprise because it was my first graphic novel that I ever read, and I was like, oh my god, this was amazing. So I rated it 5 stars, and then second book was a 4-star, and the third book was also 4-star, I think, and then this one was also 5 stars. It was just, the feeling that these books gave me was just amazing. I haven't read the 5th book yet. My best friend owns it, so I'll probably steal it from him. I actually gifted him it and never gave myself a copy. But anyways, I got these thrifted, by the way. Like, part 2, 3, and 4, this one, I got these thrifted, so I'm very happy about that. These are just, like, fun graphic novels, you know? So, yeah, give it a try if you haven't already. So, Where the Forest Meets the Stars. This is, like, very different from what I normally read and read. This was also one of the first books that I read, but I was like, I saw it randomly, I think. I don't remember it, but I think I saw it very randomly. I picked it up and I loved it. I read it in one sitting, or not one sitting, but like in one night. But also there's a romance, and it was just so cute. I just loved it. Like, this guy, he's so adorable. And I do remember some parts of it, and I really, really, really need to do a reread because I don't know, it just gave me so many good feelings. Okay, Binding 13 and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. I rated Binding 13 a 5-star, but Keeping 13 a 4.9 again. It's not like officially a 5-star, but it's very close to it, so I again decided to add it to this. And when I think about both these books, I feel like they're 5 stars, so I just, these books, I feel like no one is surprised when I say that they're 5 stars because pretty much everyone that I follow, not everyone, but most of the people that I follow have read and love these books, so I don't have to tell you much about it, but it's a very heavy book with heavy subjects. I've also read the 3rd book in the series. I still need to read the 4th book, but just because it's so triggering, I don't feel like I am in the right headspace right now, so I need to read it at a later date. I'm still really interested in reading the 4th book, and Taming 7 has come out a few months ago. I really need to read that as well, and I need to continue the series, and I would love to continue the series, but I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that. Beach Read by Emily Henry. Babes, I don't think if I read this now it would be 5 stars because I've read Emily Henry's newer releases. Funny Story, and what was the last one? I'm not sure what the last one was. But Funny Story, I gave a 3.5-star rating, which isn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I didn't like those characters as much as I did in Beach Read, because Beach Read, love that. About August and January, like very original, Emily. And they're kind of like competing against each other to write in each other's genre, see who gets published first, like who gets better ratings. I don't know, it's something like that, and that friendship and relationship evolves into something more. It's good. I would read it. Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. You may notice that I didn't add A Good Girl's Guide to Murder to this because I didn't rate that 5 stars. I rated it 4 stars, and I don't remember why I rated it 4 stars, actually. I don't really remember reading it. Good Girl, Bad Blood was just so good. I just really, really enjoyed that. I read it so quickly. I was sitting in a garden at like a party of friends of my dad's and my stepmom's, and I was just like reading. Like, wow, I need to continue reading because it was that good. And then As Good as Dead, I read a long time after I read Good Girl, Bad Blood, and I really enjoyed that as well. It was very different. It had a very different vibe from the previous books in the series, and I completely understand why other people wouldn't enjoy it, but I personally really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good conclusion to the story. I didn't like the ending, but I kind of understand it, so it's like 50-50 for me, but still, 5-star read. Here we go. Consider Me by Becca Mack. I've already talked about this way too much, but I gave this 5 stars. It's a 4.75. It's just not a 5-star. I don't know why I gave it 5 stars. Again, I was desperate for a 5-star, and for most part of this book, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be 5-star. But then, like, the last 100 pages, I was like, no, nah. But I still gave 5 stars because we were like, yeah, the first, like, 300 pages count for something, right? I could have just rated it 4.75 and it would have been fine as well. But I didn't, because I'm stubborn as hell. Then, I think my favorite book of all time, ladies and gents, The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Ryan fucking Shea, bitches! Ryan Shea. If you have anything bad to say about my baby, I will literally cut it by you right the fuck now. No, that's a joke. But literally, how can you not like him? Like, he's amazing. Quiet Love. Oh my god, that quote, Quiet Love, like, just the fact that it's Quiet Love, but that he shows it so much, it's just perfection. I just love this book. I haven't rated the rest of the series 5 stars. I've only rated them 4 stars. Not any lower, but not any higher than that either. And this one was just a 5-star. 5 stars. 6 stars if I could. 6 stars if I could. Yeah, I've already arrived to the last one. This is my most recent 5-star read. I read this one, I think, like a week ago or like 6 days ago. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. 6 stars. This book gave me the same feeling that Beach Read by Emily Henry gave me, but then 10 times better. I don't know what it was, but this book had some crack between the pages. Like, it also smells really good. Like, that's a sign. If a book smells good, you know it's gonna be a good one. Like, the last, I think, 50 pages were so devastatingly good that I was like, I cannot rate this below a 5-star. Like, I cannot rate it below a 5-star because it was that good. It made me cry. It made me not sob. It made me cry, like a gentle tear, you know, across my cheek. But it was just, it made me so happy, so giddy. It was just all I needed at that time. And if you love beach read, I think you would love this as well. That's it. That's all for this video. So those were all my 5-star reads, all of the books that I ever rated 5 stars. I know it's a lot. I think it's like 36 books maybe, but it's not as much if you think about it, because I've been reading nonstop for like 4 years. Then it's not a lot, because I've read more than 450 books. I've almost read 500 different books, and only 36 of those have gotten the honor to be a 5-star. But I still think, like, most of these are very deserving of the 5-star that I gave them, especially in that moment that I gave it a 5-star. I think that counts for something. Like, in the moment when you give it a 5-star, when you feel like that is the rating that you're gonna give it, and you have the fun memories, but you don't have the memory of it being that good, I still think that you should follow your instinct and just let it be 5-star. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to see more of me, subscribe, and I hope to see you later. Bye bye!